Hey everyone, welcome to Fleet Equipment from the Floor 2024 ACT Expo, powered by Cummins. It's the after show. The show is over. Conversation continues. We got a lot to talk about here today. So let me give you my 3 takeaways from the show, because there was a lot going on, but I think these are 3 that really encapsulate what happened at the show, at least for me, right? Number 1, the industry is serious about sustainability and decarbonization. There were a plethora of solutions on the show floor to decarbonize, right? That's my second trend. There's no magic bullet. There's a lot that you can do to decarbonize. It's not just a light switch moment, or one day you'll just have zero emission vehicles in your fleet and it'll be wonderful. We will get to that day. There will be a day like that. But I think what the show floor really presented is a lot of different powertrain solutions, right? Natural gas was big there. The Cummins X15N had a big presence. Hydrogen was there, both in fuel cell and ICE variants, right? So internal combustion using hydrogen. There was some hybrid talk. Of course, there were battery electric vehicles there. And it really showed you that there are a lot of solutions, right? One thing that came from it was there wasn't a single solution that kind of bubbled up to the top, right? The past couple of years, hydrogen was super big last year. Battery electric was big the year before, right? This was the year of gray area. It was a lot of solutions on display, which brings me to my last big takeaway. The responsibility is kind of on you as the fleet. It's kind of up to you at this point. With all the different solutions laying on the table, we are back to that tried and true fleet equipment conversation about speccing, application, what fits your routes, your duty cycles, and how can you move toward sustainability through decarbonization, right? How can you run more efficiently today, put less emissions into the atmosphere, and move toward greater sustainability, right? ACT, the refrain a couple years ago was clearly Peter Verhoeven, Volvo Trucks, act now, right? We are acting now, and there is a lot going on there. So with that in mind, we're going to connect with Brad Sutton, the Executive Director of Powertrain Engineering at Cummins, to dive into all the powertrain technology details and see what he's hearing from fleets. Let's connect. Brad, thanks for taking the time. Happy to talk to you here on the heels of ACT Expo. When we were at the show, you know, one of the things that became clear was that there are a lot of different powertrain solutions coming out to help fleets decarbonize. What are you hearing from your side about fleets, and how serious are they about putting multiple different solutions in terms of powertrains into their fleets to move toward greater sustainability?
I think there's a couple of aspects. That's an important question. Fleets today feel like they may need multiple solutions because not all fleet operations are created equal, right? The idea that one solution fits every fleet is not realistic, right? So as we move forward, having that optionality, most fleets feel good about that because in their own fleet operations, they may have one depot or one location that may have a certain kind of fuel source or infrastructure available to them where they may not in several others. And that really drives that need for optionality and having the full spectrum of what we have today, which are very, efficient, low CO2, even internal combustion solutions, all the way to those zero emission solutions long term.
Right, for sure. One of the things you called out there that I thought was really interesting was, again, choice. I think with some of the sustainability talking points of the last 3 or 4 years and some of the new technologies, I think we've kind of maybe glossed over some of the particulars or the details, and it's all been this kind of magic bullet technology that's going to decarbonize us. And now we have a bevy of solutions, and it comes back to that fleet makeup and application and choice, right? Are you seeing that resonate in the market, or are people still looking for that magic bullet?
Oh, no, I think it's absolutely, most fleets are coming around to the fact that there is no magic bullet, but they're also aligned with where we are today here at Cummins very clearly, and we need to make an impact today and not wait on that magic bullet long term. And we can do that through even super efficient diesel solutions or natural gas solutions, as was at the show, very prevalent hydrogen solutions. And then I think now even the talk is becoming a little bit more around hybrid, even before some of the potential zero, full zero solutions are available. So right now, I think everyone is looking at what is best for them and how can they make an impact now, and not waiting on the future of when all infrastructure is in place, everything is perfect and ready to go, and then I get my zero emissions solution so I can run just like I run today. That's not the answer. Not the answer in terms of what we're doing from a CO2 standpoint, and definitely not the answer for what fleets need to be able to reduce their CO2 today, in addition to the future.
Yeah, I mean, your point is well taken there. It's interesting to see how some of these technologies that maybe we've dismissed or overlooked have come back. I mean, the X15N had a big presence at the show, also out on the ride and drive. I got to drive it. It was wonderful. You mentioned the hybrids, too. I know what was interesting there, and, we don't need to get into it, but, there's been a lot of funding and incentive for EV. On the hybrid, so we saw super trucks, and I believe you are all involved in a super truck program here, the last round, that a number of them did have those hybrid powertrains, and they were pulling some serious MPG there as well. So interesting how that bubbles back up a little bit.
Yeah, the reality is we need solutions. We must lower CO2. Let's be clear about that. That is our objective. And that may not be waiting on a pure electrified, either fuel cell electric or battery electric powertrain. And what we can do, though, and where people sort of have dismissed it, I always like to say, a lot of people for a long time were 0 or 1. And I'm an electrical engineer by my past, so it's easy for me to talk about zeros and ones. But you're either internal combustion or you're battery electric, fuel cell electric. And there's no in between. And most recently, especially probably the past 6 months or so, most people are asking, saying, hey, what about a potential hybrid solution that gives me that low CO2, helps me from a TCO, but starts to move me towards that zero emission solution faster? And it's an interesting conversation right now. They aren't seeing it, not necessarily on the show floor everywhere. But when you have the conversations with the fleets, they're starting to ask a lot of questions now around what is available? What are you doing? When will it be available? And that is a different dynamic than it was a year ago.
Right. Yeah, it's all a gray area now, which is kind of fun. So your point is well taken about we need to make an impact now. I think a lot of fleets are looking at that as well. So let's say I'm a fleet. Let's say I'm a mid-sized fleet, right? I might not be one of these big market movers that dive into these technologies and help you develop it, but I want to make an impact. What's your advice for what I might need to know about my operations or my goals to be able to have a conversation with someone like you at Cummins to figure out what solutions I need to put into my fleet?
Yeah, what's great now is we've developed tools that our field organization at Cummins at least can use and is available for them to use with any size fleet to help think about optimizing for emissions and what their solutions need to be that matches their duty cycle, their infrastructure, maybe their route, maybe their particular depot location, and offer some different solutions of, well, maybe the best thing here is you have renewable natural gas in your back door. We could possibly run a natural gas fleet, and we have a net zero carbon solution right then and there with your traditional duty cycle. Others may be more of, well, I have part of my fleet that's a long haul fleet. I have part of my fleet that may be a regional fleet. And we can help them with these tools optimize for things like ESG, that they may have their own goals there, or for overall, CO2 in the long term, or potentially maybe it's only one location because of a particular state regulatory requirement that they have to be able to meet something. So these tools are very, very helpful in that space, especially for the mid-sized fleets that maybe do not have that much advanced technology at their fingertips.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of fun that we're back to those application questions, back to those speccing questions in general. I think it was really cool to see that the industry is clearly very serious about decarbonization, and now all these different solutions that we're bringing to market. Really interesting. Brad, I want to thank you for taking the time. I learned a ton. I'm sure we'll talk to you again very soon. There we have it. Great thoughts from Brad Sutton. Again, responsibilities on you as a fleet. Let's talk about these solutions. He mentioned the Cummins tools. I know there are a lot of OEMs with their tools as well. Start having the conversation. Start getting serious about sustainability. Decarbonization can happen, but you got to put the plan in motion. You can't wait for that one magic solution that's just going to change everything, right? The change is happening right now. We want you to be a part of it. We want to thank you for being a part of Fleet Equipment from the Floor ACT Expo 2024, powered by Cummins. I'm Jason Morgan, and we'll see you at the show next year.